Welcome, Boon. Come on, you can do better than that.
That was a very, very good introduction, Dr. Wan. Right, so taking on from that, I just have a few more slides to share over here. So she's the expert. We refer to the expert a lot to make sure that we are not the blind leading the blind. Now I'm going to share a bit more of our citizen science work in a way to explain why we choose this path and some of the things that we found, and in the near future the potential threats to, in this case, Firefly biodiversity in Bukit Kiara. Next. Right, so this is a brief timeline that we've put together, but in a nutshell, our Firefly journey in Bukit Kiara, like what Dr. Wan alluded to, began in 2017, right? When some members of the public found out about this glowing worm. And then, things went viral, and at that time, I wasn't in FoBK yet, but there were lots of accounts that there was a Firefly walk organized. Members of our MNS were approached to get their knowledge and insight. And guess what? 400 people turned up at the walk, and it was a mayhem, right? But what it meant was there's actually a very distinct and strong interest on understanding the fireflies in Bukit Kiara. So one thing led to another, and that was when Dr. Wan was involved in the first iteration, to kick us off. And one of the decisions that was made back then was we should do this via citizen science, right? We should engage the community to come and help us, augment the data collection to help us understand the fireflies here. And YB Hannah was also involved quite earlier on, in the walks. And by 2020, we got seed funding from UNDP SGP GEF, which kick-started our Magical Mysteries at Bukit Kiara work. And that was when I joined as a volunteer, and there are many people here who were working this way before I did, right? And that was when 7 firefly species was actually discovered and catalogued at that stage. So in the 2021-2022. Dr. Wan went away. She was in Singapore doing her, postdoc fellow research. And things proceeded, our funding ended, but FoBK decided, no, we think we have the capacity to continue, right? So we continued with the study, and by a twist of fate, Dr. Wan came home in Monash University, very near where we are, and then there's no running away, and she's involved again, and this time with a Firefly lab with students and researchers involved. There are classes being done in here, and subsequently we got our 8 Firefly species. And today, we have our 9th, right? And why citizen science? More boots on the ground. If you rely on a team of 2 scientists, that is your capacity limitation. By simplifying our protocols, we could actually mobilize a lot more people to help us acquire data. And as a feedback, we also allow information like this to permeate through the community, so there's better appreciation of our natural history. Okay, and some stats. So Leon has mentioned that we have been going around on the ground since August 2021. So quite a number of surveys, 160 since then, and we hope to keep this going for much longer than that. Okay, next. And besides that, some people may think, survey is so hard, so difficult, so much work. But we also run regular walks. So we had to have large group walks. We have small group walks of less than 8 people. So this goes out practically every week, and we are building up our group of volunteer guides. And I repeat, these are volunteers, and we want to keep going with this effort. Right? Next. Right. So a bit of just one slide, some boring data that we've collected. So these dots that you see. These are actually firefly count from our survey, and the white border is actually Taman Persatuan Bukit Kiara, and this is an example of data acquired in 2024. So it's an aggregate data set. But the key is the survey data is on regular trails because they are accessible. there are plenty of blank space, not just in Taman Persekutuan, but also beyond to the north, Kiara North. So what this tells us is, yes, we've got some good data now, but a large source of the federal park is still, undetermined in terms of fireflies, right? Not just fireflies, in fact, and other species. So that's actually a very, very key point. And the other thing that crops up, like probably in 2024, was there's a bit of a work to the south of the park. Those of us who frequent Bukit Kiara, you would have noticed, like for the past 2 years, there's a bit of a reservoir work in our neighbor's plot, and from our data, we actually noticed something. There's some perturbation to the firefly occurrence in that area, and also more alarming for us is what could happen. Yeah, so we are seeing the beginning of some utilities work. If this swath of land were cleared for development, what is the impact that it could have on our firefly, colonies? Next. Right, so these are all public information. If you go on Google Maps, you'll be able to see that. It's just a zoom in on what I was mentioning earlier. So it does seem like work has already started to the south. What we want to quantify here is what are the potential impacts. Next. Right, so these are firefly heat maps. So essentially a graphical representation of the counts of firefly that we've accumulated, and we sum them up over 3 years. Yeah, 2022, 23, 24. When you see these red patches, it means that there's more number of fireflies that's been seen in the field. And very quickly you notice that there's actually a patch on the southern part that's right adjacent to KLGCC, where it is hottest. So that means that there is a lot more fireflies there than other areas in this vicinity, which is, now it's good, it's very interesting. It's telling us that this is a firefly hotspot, right? But when we start examining what happened around the site of the work site, next, let's take a look. Right, so zoom into that corner, we notice a trend. This is the count data from 2022 prior to any of the utility works. January 2023, the work started, clearing started, and over from January to December 23, the cumulative effect of that work is we are seeing a thinning out of the firefly occurrence. And we fast forward 2024 data set, they're practically gone. So if they run away to adjacent areas, great. But if you remember in the previous slide, if that whole swath is cleared, where are they going to run away to, right? So this to us is a very alarming early sign of what could happen if we do not address how land clearing in this secondary forest happens. Okay, so next. Right, so what can we do? What can you do? We would like to advocate for permanent protection, which what YB has mentioned, right? We want to support the establishment of a buffer zone, which it's all of us could have a hand, in helping. And more importantly, join us as a citizen scientist. Bring your kids, bring them out. At the very minimum, you're going to learn something new. It's going to be a good experience seeing the firefly out in Bukit Kiara, and it's very accessible. Okay, so that's all from me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.